So how do we take those elements we've talked about and put them into actual daily use of Twitter? We want to make sure that we're learning, we're sharing, we're gathering competitive intelligence, and we're building our reputation and partnerships along the way. So even though you have your checklist, it would be important to come into Twitter and have a certain approach to use each time you enter it, right? And so whether that is one time per day for 10 or 15 minutes, or if you come on Twitter 5 or 6 times a day for 5 minutes or so, you'd still want to leverage time effectively while you're there. What I do is when I log in, I actually see this screen, and I immediately go to connect, because this is where people will have connected with me and they might have made comments. So I look and see who the people are that have recently connected with me, and I look to see if there's someone that I would want to connect with. And this is a best-selling author, digital nomad. I think, okay, work from home. Sure, I'll follow her as well. But I don't necessarily follow each time. And if I don't want to follow, but it's kind of extraneous and interesting, sometimes I do add them to a list without following them. And so I think she probably fits under the inspirational authors category, and she may be a coach as well. So I look through to see who's connected with me, see if I want to connect to them and or add them to a list. And then I look down to see who's retweeted me and who has commented. So I have said something, I tweeted, and Nudge came back and said that they liked the post, which is great. So what I did is I favorited it. I didn't feel the need to write back in this case because I had already had some conversations. Baroni and Consult, they retweet me a lot. So often I'll go in and I'll just say, okay, thank you for all the retweets. You want to make sure you don't write that all day long. I see a lot of people actually waiting until the end of the week and then paying attention to everyone that's retweeted them, and they've given them one thank you tweet to all of them at once. So I look down, and I've already responded to a lot of these people, but you can see those who have retweeted me. So that's first and foremost, because this is where someone is interacting directly with you. Another area you could go is to your mailbox. You notice I don't go to that often because I notice that people are not personally emailing me. They are sending me stuff that they want me to sign up for. But this person did. They're answering a question that I'd asked them. And so I've responded to them elsewhere, and I won't do that here. But anything that's a direct communication, I deal with first. Then I go to the home. And then I go to the profile, because that's where I'm going to get this menu, where I will go to my lists. And this has come up a lot, but lists are very important. It's like your own personal curating system. So I often go down to people I'm promoting, which is way down on the list. It's the Nudge Entrepreneurs. And I see who's been tweeting today. And I can see that Robert sharing the 3 ways to live your best life. And I can click on that briefly to see what that is. And if I like that, I can retweet it. Also, Pennies of Time. Pennies of Time is actually what I use in the scenario in the Authenticity of Twitter course. And so she's on here sharing different ways to serve. And I often retweet tweets that she's put out there. Then we have Tanya Smith. She's a coach that I know, and she's actually in my Facebook group for Nudge Village, always sharing helpful tips. You notice some of these, I just like the titles of them, and then others of them I'm going to go in and actually read the article because I find their resources valuable. But one thing you might do is maybe in the morning you're retweeting a lot, and maybe in the evening you're reading more articles. Whatever works for you. But what this does is it shows that I am sharing what they are sharing, and I have relationships with them, and those relationships continue to grow, hopefully, as I continue to share and express gratitude for what they're doing. I like this quote. Sometimes I do retweet quotes and sometimes I don't, but I'm going to reply to Scott and say, thanks for always sharing meaningful, inspirational quotes. And then I'm going to tweet. So see, as I'm finding information for myself, I need to also acknowledge when people share something that I like. And you can see, I can go through and see I'm included in that group of nudgers. So what I often do, and while I'm on this page, I'll scroll down because it shows my other lists. I just pick 2 or 3 lists to look at every day. I do it out of a matter of habit, and then other days I'm seriously looking to find information about a certain topic. So these are great authors. And I'm looking in here to make sure that I actually have added an author to this list, and I don't think I have, because I know someone that is coming out with a new book this week, and I'm going to make sure that I add this person to the, what's called inspirational authors on here, because that was the original name. I'm going to add that there so that shows up, because I want to make sure I see the tweets when their book comes out this week, so that I can promote it. It's a sci-fi novel. And of course, there's still interesting things that show up in our list. Someone got a little excited about their little animal posts. And then I will retweet periodically something I see on this list. So notice in the last couple minutes, I've retweeted, I have responded to some people, and now I'm interested in a topic. So I'm going to search nudges. So I'm going to put nudge. I want to see who's talking about nudging right now, because that's an area of interest of mine, obviously, for Nudge Village, and I like to highlight people that are talking about nudging. And so this person says something about nudging, I'm going to retweet it. The great thing about doing a search is it brings up people that are outside of your network. So you can meet new people through it, and they can meet you, right? Because if you discover them and retweet something of theirs, they're going to notice you most of the time, not all the time, may respond by connecting or starting to follow you in some other way, like adding to your list. Then I go back to home, and actually, last but not least, I take a quick look at the feed. And see, the feed is just, it just seems very junky to me. And that's why I create lists, so I know that I can go in and find things on specific topics from specific people that I know that I would be interested in. And so in this case, let's just, Burgernomics, let's just retweet this because that sounds interesting. But this is something where 6 powerful questions to answer time management. I might want to get in here and remind myself of some powerful questions to ask myself in the time management field. And there's some good information in here that I might want to retweet. And of course, I could also share on LinkedIn, Google+, Facebook, or get the RSS feed. So, and of course, I'm introduced to some way to sign their mailing list. I have met some great people through this approach on Twitter, and thought that it would be good to share with you the way that I do go in and use Twitter. Of course, if I wasn't recording this, I might delve into a couple more deeply, because that's how I learn specific things for my field. But I don't want to do that in this case. However, clicking on the link and showing you that site shows that you can go off and look at some links, and then some you can retweet or favorite and look at them later in the day for yourself. Hopefully you can use these tips in your daily Twitter use.